the strangest feeling to know what to believe in.
So close.
I'm Jim Check. You're watching KelownaNow. I'm here with Lennie Rampone and Aaron Marsh, and we're here with Rampone Marsh Mortgages.
Yes. Hello again.
Good to see you.
Good to see you. I'm wearing a different hat since last time we talked.
Yeah,
I had to retire the Oilers hat. Game 7, though. We got close.
they can't
so
close.
close.
They just came up
They can't
short.
close? Is that like a mortgage term? They can't close? That's a common thing for a lot of people right now. They can't close.
Well,
But,
I don't know. They're talking to the wrong people, but yeah, it can be tough out there for sure.
But like the Oilers couldn't close. Just about, though, right?
Just about.
Just about. Anyway.
Game 7.
There you go. We have to wait a whole nother year for this thing to...
They're going to be hurt and hungry. So it'll be great.
Nothing like losing to inspire you.
This is true.
There you go. So what do you want to talk about today?
We got an interest rate announcement coming up at the end of the month. That's
Maybe they will, maybe they won't. So this is the last one till September.
Correct.
We're going to take a bit of a break.
25th,
Yeah, July 25th. My money's on a cut.
Ooh, dang. Okay, you go first.
Well, I'd like to think they're gonna cut. I'm not too sure. I think they're gonna hold and then cut in September. I think we're gonna see cuts in the next couple months, regardless. But
In the U.S., the Powell was pretty soft, saying that it's time for cutting.
yeah,
So
that was just this week, right?
yeah, just a couple days ago. Yeah, so
I think I agree with you, Jim. I think they're going to cut a quarter point.
I think RBC, I'm pretty sure, said they're going to cut too, right? So I think the Canada wants to lead the U.S., and I think the Liberal government is looking for any kind of like something they can, parade around. But obviously, the Bank of Canada is supposed to be independent. So
We don't have time for that conversation, do we?
yeah. So my money's on that they're going to cut. I think they went too far, too fast, like the elevator up and the stairs down.
Yeah.
But I do think there was, like I'd say a year ago, they expected 6 cuts, right? So now we may get 3.
That's right.
You know what I mean? So, and it's going to be 0.25 when they could do a lot more. I mean, our unemployment situation is not getting better.
No, that unemployment data just came out. I think 6.8%.
I'm doing a 12:30 live stream for anybody who wants. It's on stagflation. We got a finance guy coming on talking about stagflation, and that's where your GDP is falling, right? So, and we've seen that, especially GDP per person too, right? So it's not looking good in many factors, right, in the Canadian economy. So
yeah, affordability continues to be the main concern in Canada, like groceries, gas, housing,
energy costs, right? Housing.
Yeah.
Kelowna market's still pretty soft, I guess, right, as far as home sales go.
The transactions definitely are down overall. But, I think it's just back to normal or maybe a little less than in regards to
another rate cut or two should spur the market a bit, should get some activity.
Yeah, I would think so. Right now, it certainly is a buyer's market. Like you're seeing listings, sitting longer out there. So, there is opportunities to be very competitive on an offer depending on the seller.
In saying that, though, there's not a whole lot of inventory, for the buyer at some price points. So it's you have buyers that are willing and ready, but there's nothing for them to buy per se. So hopefully once the summer's over and things get back to a normal schedule for everybody, that we'll see a change in that.
So again, being prepared makes a lot of sense, right? So you have, more time to make better decisions. I think getting pre-qualified and all that kind of stuff.
Absolutely. You're taking on hundreds of thousands of dollars of debt. Like, make sure you get your ducks in a row before doing anything.
Yeah. What is like a 0.25 rate cut on 100,000? What is that? Like, it's like $75, something like that?
No, it's
$15?
It's closer to $15.
No.
Yeah.
So again, every 0.25, so $60 on a point.
That's right.
On 100,000.
Yeah.
So I mean, it makes a big difference, right? When you start adding 100, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
It totally can.
It helps for anyone who has home equity lines of credit or a variable rate mortgage. It's going to help them. Obviously, if you're in a fixed rate, your rate is set, your payment is set. I would think like right now fixed rates you're seeing 5-year fixed rates below 5%.
Yeah.
And the lenders have kind of factored in the rate cuts already
That are coming and stuff like that,
that are
too.
coming.
Yeah.
So the fixed rates are getting more and more.
Bond yields are
attractive.
dropping too, so it obviously leads
right.
the way, right? So, other factors to consider when you're looking for a home, though, too, is as we talk about rate cuts coming. Buying a house that has an in-law suite, obviously you can apply that rent towards your mortgage too.
Yeah,
you can count that in your income.
Yeah, every lender is different in regards to it, but 100% it can count, even if the suite is non-conforming. It just has to be separate, like separate entrance.
And are they counting 100% of that, or are they counting 80%, or is that depending on the lender again?
That's lender dependent, yeah.
Okay. And then so that's a good way for people to add a good, $1,500 to $2,000 to their mortgage affordability, right?
Yeah, it can be a game changer.
To then get a better asset.
Right? Yeah, and that too. And then you get an income performing asset that you can sell, obviously, for a little more money.
That's right.
Down the road, right?
Yeah, I guess that would lead into our leveraging real estate.
Yeah, I mean, you get a better asset, so it would be a difference between maybe a townhouse versus a house with a suite. And over time, a single-family dwelling should appreciate more than a townhouse, in theory. And then, if you're into leveraging in real estate and want to grow more, and you can take monies out and buy your next property and turn your existing into a rental, and then it just percolates until you're old like me.
Yeah, I think. What am I then? A dinosaur. Single-family home still the what everybody kind of wants, right?
Yeah.
Depending on your age, I guess, right? But if you're a young family, I get the single family home would be the.
So, a lot of first time, you can still buy, if you've bought a home before and you want to buy again, you can still buy a home with 5 or 10% down. Even if you were that's not just a first time home buyer.
Oh, really?
You can still buy a home with 10% down. If you want,
you just have to do CMHC fees.
That's right.
Yeah.
Subject to qualifying.
2 or 3%, or what is that?
It layers from 5, 10, 15,
3 of your
20.
kids, or what?
Yeah. Just 1.5.
But to have an insured mortgage, if you want to put less than 20% down,
right,
the property has to be under $1 million.
The property has to be under $1 million.
Yes.
Purchase price.
If you're doing the 5 or 10% kind of.
That's
thing.
right.
Yeah.
Less than 20.
If you want to do 5 or 10% down, 15% down, property has to be under $1 million. Once you get over $1 million, you automatically have to come up with the 20% down.
Right, because those are the properties that kind of swing in value a lot more than the stuff that's in that average home price. Like whatever that is in Kelowna right now, it's probably just under $1 million, right?
I think you're probably
floats
right.
just under, just over.
Yeah, so somewhere in there, right? So, what are you guys seeing for activity right now?
Well, the summer months it does slow down naturally in Kelowna, but I think there was roughly 250 transactions last month.
Yeah, I mean we're
you
lucky.
guys got like 249.
Ha ha ha. Well, we're lucky. We have clients all over, and so we deal with lenders all over and clients all over, and lenders are busy and there's activity. But the sun comes out, things slow down a little bit, and then it typically picks up going into school.
So you can do a mortgage in Alberta or
yes,
anywhere
sir.
Across Canada, kind of thing.
Yes, sir.
And then you guys kind of try to help people, even if they have like a little more difficult mortgage too, like people that own businesses and that aren't taking T4 income and stuff like that.
That's right. Those people, whether you're self-employed or salaried and you want to leverage your property to invest in real estate, there are options out there for you. Mm-hmm. If you want to get to zero, which is the other end of the spectrum,
right,
then we can help coach you to get to zero as well.
So can you use your one property to kind of leverage another property, use that as collateral, I guess?
Yes, sir.
There you go.
Absolutely.
And that's how you build up your doors, as they call it, right? How many doors do you want?
Well, that's it. And a lot of people, you don't know the position you're in. And if you've owned a property over the past 5, 6, 7 years, there's a chance that you have some down payment money sitting in that property.
So one of the cool things, and I think there's some fancy names for it, but say if you're sitting on an asset and it's paid for, say if you're sitting on $1 million home in Kelowna, which is an average home, you could actually take out an operating line and then use that money to finance another home and then write off the interest on that.
This is it. This is true.
So you're taking that money out cash free out of your asset, then taking that and leveraging another property where you get to write the interest off because now it's a rental property.
Now that rental property, yes, exactly. You write that interest off against.
There's a key tip for everybody right there, and these guys help you through it.
Yeah, it's very tax incentivized. So
because it's in Kelowna, I think. I can't remember the stat exactly, but it's over 30% that people have their like mortgage or homes paid off.
Well, yeah, a lot of Kelowna residents have lived here a long time, and they've had they bought their house when in early 2000s or even before that when homes were a lot cheaper.
And even if it's not paid off, if you have $1 million home and let's say you have a $500,000 mortgage, you can, subject to qualifying of course, take out $250 and go and put it down on a townhouse or a condo, and maybe that's for the kids or something.
Yeah, because I think a lot of people think investments in Kelowna over the long term will be a good idea because of this natural attractiveness of the city, right?
Well, yeah. Look at Kelowna, just even the last 3 years, how much it's grown. Like if you look all the towers downtown, you got big and institutional investors investing in Kelowna. So it's.
Well, we have Doug Gilchrist coming in, the city manager, at 1:30 today,
Okay.
And we're going to talk about the city report and in that OCP, just under 163,000 people in Kelowna now. That's not the central Kelowna, that's in the Kelowna.
That's
area.
Just the Kelowna population right now.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
awesome. That's. You grew up around here, right?
Yeah.
That's a couple more than...
I was telling someone, do you know where that place is? I used to skate on the pond as a kid, and there's a big tower there.
I remember driving my truck through the field where Orchard Park Mall is.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, I know.
Late at night?
No, it was during the day. I was trying to avoid traffic. I didn't do it. Yeah, so there's lots of things to look at if you're looking to invest in another property, I guess, too, or even try to get in your first one.
Well, it's long term too. So if you believe in the growth of Kelowna and you believe in real estate, then you're kind of limiting the risks in terms of any quick flip or anything. So
asset appreciation usually beats inflation too. And it's a good place instead of having money sit there. I can give you an example. The home I bought in 1998. Was a lot less than it is today, and if I'd have buried that money, it'd still be worth the $200,000. Right?
Right.
You couldn't buy much today for $200,000, but if you put it in the real estate, that $200,000 is well worth over $1 million.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. One other avenue, we've been helping quite a few people with. A lot of people are investing in Alberta, buying investment properties in Edmonton and Calgary.
Well, Calgary's on fire for sure, right? Calgary is on fire, and for good reason. The people, the business climate there is good. They're really, I guess, trying to get more investment into Alberta and stuff like that.
Yep.
And the prices are cheaper, right?
Prices are cheaper, but rents are you can cash flow those properties.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you actually the opportunities in Alberta in that regard are pretty good. And I'm a big fan of the city of Calgary, and I think there's a really good Calgary-Kelowna connection.
Totally.
And Edmonton is the cheaper sister of Calgary, I guess, right?
Yeah.
So.
Typically speaking.
The colder cheaper sister. I lived in the City of Champions for 10 years, and I guess we can't call it the City of Champions.
Edmonton was buzzing here all of June, so
it's a beautiful city. That river valley is epic, right?
Yeah,
so having a property here in Kelowna and then one in Calgary would be kind of the best of both worlds in Canada, right?
Yeah, well, like Aaron said, the properties are cheaper and the rents are approximately the same, so...
Yeah. So you can buy yourself they have lots of land to deal with there, though, right? So when they're expanding the city of Calgary, there's a lot of room, and the bedroom communities are there.
Yeah, and there's others. In BC, we pay property transfer tax on every real estate purchase. Alberta, they don't have that.
Right.
So
what's with that anyway?
Again, it's a whole nother topic, Jim.
No PST, no property transfer tax.
This is true.
We got to get them to pay more.
Who? Alberta?
I'm just kidding.
Or get BC to charge less.
Yeah, that'll happen.
BC stands for Bring Cash. Lennie says that all the time.
It is a beautiful area for sure. There's no doubt about it. That's why I'm saying if you had a property here and in Calgary, you'd have the best of both worlds.
You would have the best of both worlds, absolutely.
Anything you like for people out there looking now? Anything you want to share with them? Like if we're getting a rate cut, is that going to spur more interest? You think? Like
there's
frenzy maybe, especially in that average home price.
I think frenzy would be a strong word, but it should increase the buzz for sure.
Might make some properties a little bit more competitive, right?
Yeah.
So you definitely want to be pre-approved, ready to jump on that property,
So some developers in town, like on the new stuff, they can buy down the rate, and they've been doing that.
Yeah,
You've seen that. Yeah, they are buying the rate down.
But you can't do that with like a personal, like a transaction, right?
No, like they're doing it over a whole plethora of properties, right? Like if you were
it's legal in the U.S. to do that though. You can actually buy down the rate of somebody trying to buy your home, but in Canada you can't.
Well, years ago we had like some U.S. pricing where there was like teaser rates for the first 6 months, and then it would go to whatever for the very remainder of the time. That went away with the subprime crash and has never come back with Canadian lenders.
Right.
So it's a lot different than the U.S. system.
People seem to like this, especially in cars. When they buy the rate down to zero, obviously it's the same thing. But like when you drop the price of a home $25,000, people are going, yeah. And then if you say I'm going to buy the rate down 2 points, they're just like, I'll take that, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, you're still paying. It's
the same thing, right?
You're still paying. You're just lump summing to get that rate down. So.
Anything you're seeing out there that people should be aware of? Like anything that's kind of more attractive or people are gravitating towards, or is it the investment stuff? Who's doing most of the buying right now for you guys?
Well, it's anything under $1 million is moving because you can do, you have your first and second time home buyers who don't have that 200,000 saved up. You can do the 5%, 50,000 down or whatever.
Maybe we should talk about the RSPs a little bit too, because people can, if they put money in RSP, they get the tax deduction back, and they can use that then they can pull that money out, use it towards their mortgage. Yep. Is it 90 days? 89 days? 90 days?
The investment has to stay in for 90 days.
Right. Yep. So that's something, do you coach people through that too as well? And
yeah.
Because that's typically if somebody put 30,000 in the RSP, they get another maybe, $9,000 back that they can put into their
totally right.
mortgage. Now they have 39,000 as opposed to 30,000, right?
Yeah, it's something we coach first time home buyers on. It's
because that's only available once, isn't it?
It's once, or if you haven't owned a home in 5 years.
Oh, you can do it again?
You can do it again.
Oh, well, there you go. I learned something today.
Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's time to do it again. There you go. That's actually interesting.
Yeah.
So if you got a lot of room in your RSP and you made a lot of money,
there's opportunity.
There's opportunity there, right? And then you got to pay that back over
15 years.
Yep.
15 years. Because there is the other thing in RSPs, we're getting kind of off track, but you can actually self-direct your own mortgage too. If you had enough money in your RSPs, you could actually.
That's right.
Do you guys do that too?
We have, but not many people fall into that category.
You got to do some legal stuff and everything. You got to actually do
there's some
legit mortgage and stuff like that, right? Yeah. You can't just I'll pay it back.
No. I promise.
That's great.
Yeah, I mean, just to circle back, if you get a second home and you're moving up, you can, under $1 million, you can put less than 20% down. And a lot of people are saving, trying to save to put 20% down. You don't need to.
Yeah.
And
I think that's the biggest problem for lots of people. They just don't have the down payment, right? They're paying the rent, which is almost the mortgage.
This is it.
And they just can't come up with the down payment.
And there's a perception out there that if you've bought a home with 5% down already, you can't do it again. That's not true. You can do it. You can do it as many times as you want.
And that RSP thing is something I didn't know too. Like if you haven't owned a home for 5 years,
primary residence though, right?
You can only buy a primary with it?
Yeah.
Well, come on now.
We don't make the rules, Jim. We just dance around them.
So we figure out ways through them. Yeah. No, that's amazing. Down payments too. If you were to buy a new home, just a random question here, sweat equity, does that kind of work sometimes now too? Or is that
if you were building a place or adding an addition or something?
You had a builder building you a home and say it was $500 and you did the painting in the home, can the builder pay you and use that as your down payment too?
That is a possibility, but that is getting off script quite a bit because the lenders don't like
Yeah,
that.
they want to see where that down payment comes
wanna
from,
see-
right?
yeah,
They
they
want to
wanna
see
see-
money transactions.
So the other place is gifting from parents and stuff like that.
That's
too,
right.
So,
Yeah, a
Yeah.
lot of gifted down payment from family.
You're seeing more of
happening.
that.
I think,
Right now.
I think a lot of people, I mean, we did that with our kids, kids need help, right?
Yeah.
Because it's tough out there, right?
Well, with the way prices are, yeah, it is.
Yeah. So are you seeing a lot of Kelowna customers, kind of like that you've had, looking to Calgary for that investment property then?
Yeah.
Or Edmonton, Calgary?
Yeah, we've seen clients make the shift in terms of, oh man, the Okanagan's got too expensive for me to invest in, but I still want to invest in real estate. They are making the shift to Alberta if they're comfortable. So you got to be comfortable with the investment. And some are just choosing not to do it.
Yeah. So another thing to do is you could actually buy a home, like say like $1 million home, and then use that as a rental property and then rent out a condo for yourself. That way that you could have that somebody helping you pay for that house so you can afford to actually move into it.
Yeah, that's one way to do it. There's
Creative
lots
ways,
of,
right,
there's
to
lots
get
of
into
creative-
properties, right? So
You know, everybody's different.
Yeah.
Everybody's lifestyle, everybody's investment risk tolerance is different. So
as
You can-
always,
you
there's
can actually, as we're talking about that, you could, if we have a client that was renting in Vancouver
Yep.
and bought a condo in Kelowna 5% down as a second home,
Yeah.
but they didn't own a home already.
Right.
They were renting,
Right.
but you can do it as a secondary place for your personal use. And so years ago, they bought a condo with 5% down, and they would just come up every weekend and take their holidays, and it would sit vacant most of the time. But they could afford to do that, and it was their way of investing in the Kelowna market
Right.
from
Which
Vancouver.
is a lot cheaper than
That's
the
right.
Vancouver market, right?
That's right.
yeah,
So if you
that's
don't
like-
even own a home and you
Mhm.
have potentially money or a gift, and you don't necessarily want to move into it, you can buy it for.
Yeah, I know one of my son's friends did that in Calgary. He actually doesn't own a home here. It's his first home, so he bought a place in Calgary because he could afford it in Calgary, and now he's renting it out, and then so he's building equity while he's waiting that he can afford a place here because he has a job here and stuff. Like that, right? So, that there is ways to get into the market, I guess, right? So at a lower cost. Right?
Absolutely.
So,
you just got to make the decision. You got to get your ducks in a row and make the decision that that's what you want to do. And
well, these are the guys that can get your ducks in a row. We're going to put that form at the bottom as usual, and you can fill that out, and then Creative Mortgages, right?
one-stop shop for mortgages.
There you go. Like figuring out how to, become a homeowner, right? Or how to become a multiple homeowner, right?
Yeah, you can build your wealth through real estate.
There you go.
Lots
How many
of people
doors
do it.
do you want to have?
I'd like to have 10 doors, but
10? Where you at?
Well, I'm at 2 doors.
2 doors? Yeah, back door and front door. How about you?
I'm at 4.
There you go.
Yeah,
Yeah. So you got like a downstairs, up, in and out kind of thing.
that's right. Side doors, front and back.
It makes sense for a lot of people starting out to do the suites though, right? Like, cause that's a good way to get more house that you can kind of grow into and use that.
It
income.
helps with affordability. Helps
Yeah.
if you have that mortgage helper, it definitely, it makes things more comfortable.
Yeah.
Especially with how the rents are.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, rents are high, right?
They're
Like,
not low.
And then, they have to be high too because the mortgage payments are high though too.
This
right?
is it.
But you can write off those interest payments too, right?
You have some tax advantages, as you know.
And you can write that off against your employment income. You just can't use the depreciation to
That's
affect
right.
your employment income, right?
That's right.
Yeah. So there you go.
Yeah.
Not enough for today. We want to just rate cut July. Yes, no, maybe so.
You guys convinced me. Yes, rate cut.
Okay.
in July.
Yeah, I think
We
there
got
is.
nobody to bet against here, but maybe Jason, right? Because somebody's got to buy lunch out of this. Anyway, I think we're all picking rate cut in July, so you can call us out if it doesn't happen, right?
Yeah.
Or you can buy us lunch if it does happen.
Yeah, we'll see what happens.
I think that's it for today.
Yeah. Thanks for having us again.
Hey, you betcha. And we thank you for watching Kelowna Now.